The starship glided silently through the far edge of the Orion Passage as the young princess named Nira pressed both hands on the transparent panel and stared at the blue planet below her ship. Her silver eyes reflected shades of worry as she whispered a question she had repeated many times during her long journey. Why did you leave me, human months? Before this moment, she had lived in the royal sphere of her homeworld, where every corridor shone with white light and every voice carried an even calm. She had grown up believing she understood every rule of her world until the day she met a human, Aaron. He had come as part of a small peace mission sent to improve relations between their worlds, and he had been unlike anyone she had known. He laughed freely and spoke quickly, and he seemed to find meaning in the smallest things. He enjoyed telling stories about rain on windows and old songs from Earth, and he even taught her how humans would sit outdoors during a cool evening and watch the sky for nothing comfort. She had admired the way he carried kindness in his voice. She had respected his honesty, slowly without planning to. She had come to trust him in a way few others earned. But then one morning, he had gone. No message remained, no reason, no explanation. Only silence and the vague report that the human crew had departed. Early on an urgent recall, the royal advisors told her she should move on. They said humans were unpredictable and short-lived, and she would be wise to forget. But she could not forget, and she could not accept that someone who had touched her life so gently had chosen to walk away without a single farewell. So she decided to follow him. She requested permission, and when it was denied, she left anyway. Her ship launched in secret, and she used every fragment of data she could gather to track the route of his return. Rumor said he was back on Earth, living quietly after a dispute with his own command. This was all she needed to know, and she crossed light years to find him now. As her ship settled into the thin air above the living world, she felt her pulse quicken. Earth looked soft and warm compared to the sharp white glow of her home. Clouds curled like gentle waves. Continents stretched like ancient drawings. Streams of lights marked cities full of millions of voices. She wondered how anyone could feel lonely on such a world, yet she felt a quiet thudding in her chest. She feared he might refuse to see her. She feared he might already have forgotten her, but she also believed humans had a way of surprising others with sudden kindness. She landed her vessel in a secluded area just beyond a small town. The air smelled of earth and wind, and far away she could hear the soft hum of life. She cloaked her ship and began walking along a narrow road. Her clothing shifted to look like local fabric, and she pulled a hood around her pale hair. She felt out of place, but her steps did not slow. Because she had crossed space for one reason, the town was quiet at this hour. Shops were closing. Children were returning home. Lights flickered inside small houses. She felt a strange warmth as she observed the simple beauty around her. It reminded her of the stories Aaron used to tell. Human life seemed full of small joys. She saw a family laughing together as they walked. She saw a person watering plants outside a window. She saw a pair of friends sharing a warm drink under a street lamp. Everything felt peaceful. She wondered again why he had left peace behind and walked away. She finally reached the address she had learned during her search. A modest home with a wooden porch and a single light glowing near the door. Her breath paused. She raised her hand but hesitated because she did not know what she would say. Her thoughts tangled inside her mind. She had rehearsed countless sentences. She had practiced even the tone she would use. But now everything fell apart. She felt like a child who had chased a dream across the stars. Still, she knocked once. The door opened, and there he stood. Aaron looked older than she remembered. His hair was slightly longer. His expression carried a tired weight, but his eyes widened the moment he recognized her. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence stretched like a question. Neither knew how to answer it. It was Aaron who finally spoke. His voice was soft and uncertain. Nira, Why are you here? She felt her heart tighten. She found her voice after a small struggle. Why did you leave me human? He looked down. He stepped aside and motioned for her to enter. She walked into the warm room. It smelled of wood and fresh tea. There were small objects on shelves that seemed to hold memories of his life. A picture of a mountain, a small drawing made by a child from a nearby home, a stack of old books with worn edges. He sat across from her and folded his hands. She could see conflict in his eyes. He let out a long, steady breath. I did not leave you. Because I wanted to, I was forced to return. There were problems with my assignment, and I lost my position. They sent me back quietly. I did not even get a chance to send a proper message, and I thought your advisors would not approve of further contact. So I stayed silent. It was wrong, and I am sorry. His words eased something inside her, but she still felt the sting. She asked him why he had not come back or tried again. He shook his head slowly. I did not think I had the right. I thought your life was already shaped and decided, and I am only one human living on a small world. I believed you would move on and forget. She leaned forward, her voice firm but calm. I crossed the stars because I did not want to forget, and because I believed you deserved to explain your disappearance. You taught me about human courage, yet you did not show it when you left. I came here because I needed to see you, and because I wanted to understand. Met her gaze, and his shoulders lowered as if a burden fell away. You deserved honesty, and I failed to give it. If you want me to return with you, I will. If you want me to leave you in peace, I will. Just tell me what you want me to do. She studied his face. He looked sincere. He looked afraid. He looked hopeful. She realized then that he had never intended harm. He had chosen silence out of fear, not indifference. She stood slowly and walked toward the small window. Outside, the town was quiet. Lights glowed softly. Stars shone in the sky like distant memories. She understood how different his life was now. He was no longer a member of a mission. He was simply a human living a simple life. She turned back to him. I did not come to take you away. I came to ask if the bond we shared meant anything to you. I needed to know if you still cared. He rose to his feet. His voice trembled. I cared then, and I care now, but I do not know where I belong anymore. My world pushed me away. Your world might not accept me. I fear I do not fit anywhere. She stepped closer and placed a gentle hand on his arm. Her tone softened. Perhaps belonging does not come from a world, but from the people we choose. If you feel lost, we can find a place together. It does not have to be grand. It only has to be honest. Her words brought a quiet calm to his expression. He nodded slowly. If you truly want me in your life, I will follow. But I need to know what waits for me beyond this moment. She smiled faintly, warm and heartfelt. I cannot promise your path will be easy. Our worlds think differently. Our duties are different. Our cultures hold different expectations. But I can promise you one thing. You will not be alone if you walk with me. He looked at the floor, then at her, then at the gentle glow of his home. He had spent months trying to adapt to a quiet life after losing his position. He had tried to convince himself that forgetting her was the safest choice. But seeing her here changed everything. She had crossed galaxies for him. She had challenged her own advisors for him. Her presence alone answered every silent doubt he had carried. He picked up a small travel bag. He placed a few things inside. He paused and looked around the room one last time. The life he had built here was peaceful, but it had never truly felt complete. He returned to her side. I am ready. They walked out into the night. The air was cool and soft. The road ahead was calm. When they reached the hidden ship, she released the cloak, and the vessel shimmered into sight. He stared at it with a mixture of awe and nostalgia. It reminded him of the life he once lived, but now it represented something more. A new beginning. The door opened. A low hum filled the air. Warm blue lights illuminated the interior. Nira stepped inside first, then turned and extended a hand to him. Aaron hesitated only a moment before taking it. As the ship rose into the sky, he watched the town shrink beneath them. Lights faded into a blur. Clouds wrapped around the vessel. Earth fell away quietly. He felt a mix of fear and hope, but her presence beside him kept him steady. She looked at him, a soft glow in her eyes. "Thank you for trusting me." He nodded. "And thank you for coming for me." The ship entered the dark stretch between worlds. Stars spread out before them like a field of silver fire. He felt something settle gently in his heart. Not certainty, not perfection, but possibility. They stood together at the viewing panel, two beings from distant worlds, bound not by duty or politics, but by a connection that had survived silence and distance. Journey ahead was unknown, but neither felt afraid. They had already crossed the hardest distance, and now at last they would face whatever came next together.